All right, guys, here it is, the Zve-10 with 11mm 1.8. This is unstabilized, just walking as normal. Don't know what it's going to look like. Obviously, it's going to be shaky with no stabilization. It's going to be jittery, it's going to be nasty, it's going to be gross. We're at 2.8 aperture with 11mm 1.8 Sony lens. Giving this a shot. It's on aperture priority, so the 1/2000th of shutter speed kind of goes up and down depending on the shade. So this is unstabilized. We're going to kind of roll with this for a bit. 1/200, 1/250 shutter speed. As long as it stays above 1/250 shutter speed, you're usually pretty good. So it looks like we're hitting that right now. But I'm gonna try active one time and leave it on active. Now it's gonna go way up on high on the shutter speed because we're back up in the sun here. We're gonna go do an active stabilization next. You shouldn't really need it with catalyst brows. And catalyst brows you can just crop in more to get better stabilization. So it doesn't make really sense to use active unless you think that there's a chance you might not put it in catalyst brows. But I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to put it on active, let it cut into my face a little bit and see what that looks like with this lens normally. And then obviously with catalyst brows, it should clean it up because it did on the A7 IV. But, you know, for a $500-600 camera with this lens, you're under $1,000. Around $1,000, why would you, man, this is a pretty small setup. If you look at the new ZV-1 Mark II, if you look at that, you're only paying $100 or a couple $100 more, but man, you're getting so much more of a camera. So much more of a camera. So let's checking out some dynamic range and looking at the field here. All right, guys, I'm gonna kick it over to active so we can see what that looks like. All right, guys, this is active, and this is cut in now. Obviously, it's a little more tight, but wanted to give this a hammer and see what's up. Now, I don't think on the Zve-10, the stabilization is not good. I'm telling you right now, it ain't good. It's terrible. So, but with such a wide lens, maybe it'll help make up for it, and maybe it'll be usable. Perhaps. We will see. We will see. But this is active stab only on the Zve-10 with the 11mm Sony 1.8. So, I apologize that last one I had the soft effect on my face, so made me look pretty, I'm sure. All right, guys, this is walking with active on. Taking a look. Active stab. We're at aperture 2.8 right now. Just running with it. Active stabilization. Shutter speed still staying above the 250, and that's really what we want. We don't want to drop under 250, but you kind of lose that motion blur stuff, but you can get it back in post if you want. But I just really want to see, if a person wants to do a lot of daily traveling, vlogging type stuff, this is, see if this is the best setup. Would you want this or the ZV-1 Mark II? So this is what this looks like walking. Okay, now obviously we're much wider now. We are much, much wider. And we are on non-stabilized right now. So it's obviously going to be shaky. But man, you get so much more of a wider view. This is 24 frames per second. 24 frames per second. Wide view, you can get a lot of it in the range there. Looking pretty good on the camera, but I know it's going to be shaky. So this is the walking test. There we go, still 2.8 aperture. I would go 1.8, but it's a little too sunny. I don't want the shutter speed to max out and be way overexposed. So 2.8 seems to be a fair number right now. And I'm cool with that. All right, I'm going to flip her over here. back on the Sony Zve-10 11mm 1.8 non-stabilized right now. Just vlogging around, giving this a bad boy test. I don't have the soft skin effect on. I did my first video, so I probably looked like a little girl. Probably wasn't going to be pretty. But how's this look? This is non-stabilized on the Zve-10. Checking out that dynamic range now. Got the sun behind me there. Now I'll be super overexposed, probably. But I just have it on aperture priority mode, and I just run it at 2.8, letting the camera do its job right now. Just want to see how good Catalyst Browse will do. You know, with the Zve-10, because the stabilization's like, in this camera is like absolute worst ever. And with no stab, it's terrible. With active stab, it's no good either, honestly. I don't like it. But with Catalyst Browse, you might have a winner chicken dinner. One more test, 1.8, non-stabilized on the Zve-10 with 11mm 1.8 Sony lens. Here we go, guys. What do you think? How's this look? Now, obviously, unstabilized is going to be a mess, absolute disaster. I'm just using the old muff there, the old mouse muff, cat mouse thingamabobber jobber that comes with the camera, just built-in mic. That's all I got. That's all I'm using, boys. Out in the bright sun here. 1.8 aperture. Should be working pretty good. Just holding it at arm's length. I got no stab on at all. Just running and gunning, baby. This thing is so light compared to like a full frame camera. R8 is pretty good too. I mean, if you want full frame, that's a good way to go. Probably your best bet for full frame, but for the most inexpensive bang for your buck, it's hard to beat the Zve-10. I'm telling you, for the price, just buy used, and these things are tanks. You can keep going with them. You can plug them in, use them with webcam. They don't overheat. Just turn it to high temp in the settings, which I have not done yet, but it hasn't given me an overheat warning or nothing yet. But yeah, works great, man. Works great. Gonna test this stab out. Got it up in my face. Probably a little overexposed here. Probably a little overexposed. Oh yeah, good times, good times. All right, guys, just wanted to give you another test. Non-stabilized, 1.8. Shutter speed's kind of jumping all over the place, but if you're not gonna use Catalyst Browse, whatever, you give that up. Got the good video quality, good stabilization. You got travel-friendly camera. You don't have to take gimbals and all that other nonsense. That's just too much. You know, that's too much for me. Now, if you like that, that's your thing. That's great. Me, I like quick, easy, convenient. The less amount of work it takes me to get going and get using it, and that's what I'm all about. And I'm a bang for the buck kind of guy. I want to get the best camera with the best features that are good for me that I can get for the money. I'm just holding this camera out at arm's length. I don't have one of those Ulanzi sticks or anything like that. I have one at home, but I don't need it for this. I mean, I can go close. I can still go close and still be okay. You know, I can still make it work. So, and I don't feel like paying for a bunch of features and a camera that I'm never going to use. That's the problem with some of the higher end ones. Is like, yeah, they have a lot of good features, and that's great for professionals, but some of them I don't use, you know? Some of them I won't use. I don't need dual card slots, all that kind of stuff. As for me, I'd rather get a less expensive camera that'll do everything I need to do and save money on it. So I kind of like the Panasonic approach with their S5. You know, that's kind of a good idea. So they made $200 less if you don't use those extra features that the 2X came out with. At least it gives you options, you know. It's like let you choose what works best for you. All right, guys. Heading back to the chair now. Going to give you final thoughts. All right, guys, just wanted to give you a little update. After that, the Catalyst Browse works amazing. I love it. I mean, it works great. It took me about 20 minutes or so to run that through. But what I was doing is I was just multitasking. I was editing on one side, and then I was letting it just stabilize on the other. If you have a somewhat decent computer, you can do that. I just work with proxy files on my Filmora 12, and that's how I do it. So, but it wasn't that tedious of a thing. Now, if you had like 30 or 40, then you want to pay for the Catalyst Prepare where you can do batch multiple ones. But I just did one at a time for the free one. For me, that's fine. I had like, I don't know, 7 clips or something, 6. But I thought it worked amazing. And the Zve-10, what a value. I mean, for the price. Yes, you can get better cameras, and like all the the Canon R50, but I had the Canon R10, and I got to be honest with you, I think the video on the Canon or the Zve-10 is better than the Canon on the R10 was, or the R50. It is better in low light. The sensor's older, but they can utilize it well. It's a good sensor. That's why they kept it around so long. But all the camera manufacturers are making good cameras nowadays. You can't really go wrong with any of them, but with the Zve-10, you got so many choices of lenses. Like right now, I'm on the 16mm 1.4, which I got used for, I don't know what it was, $300 or something. And that's a 1.4 lens. You get 2 or 3 prime lenses, maybe a zoom if you want, like the 18 to 50 Sigma. But they're less expensive than the full frame. And if this is all you're going to do, this is all you need. But you can go more. I do like the full frame look. Nothing wrong with that. For starting out, this is all you need. If you're going to do talking heads, stuff for travel, taking pictures, stuff like that for the kids and family stuff, this camera works great. It takes great pictures. It really does. It takes great pictures. I don't like that it doesn't have a viewfinder, but you get what you pay for. If you want a viewfinder, absolutely have to have it. Then you can go with R10 or R50 or something. But hey, it is what it is. But it works great. 2023, man, still a great camera. I have the A7 IV, and I'm on the Zve-10 right now. And I'm telling you, it looks great. As long as you have somewhat decent lighting and a good lens, it'll work great for you. That was kind of into the weeds. But Catalyst Browse works great. The 11mm 1.8 worked amazing. It's great for vlogging. It's great for landscapes. I don't know if I would use it for much else, though. It's not really great for portrait photography. You could use it for astrophotography and stuff. But if you're going to use it as a travel on the go lens, it's good for like a vlogging thing and stuff like that. But it's a great lens. It's clear. It's sharp. It works great. Autofocus, wonderful. It's a good lens. It's a good lens. So for a vlogging option, this combo, it's a slam dunk combo with that. And if you want full frame, the R8 and the 16 2.8, that's a slam dunk combo with enhanced stab. You don't have to stab in post, so it'll save you that much time. So if you're willing to spend a little more and go full frame, R8 with the enhanced stab with a 2.8 16mm, and you're good to go. And then you get yourself a 35mm with that camera, and you're rocking and rolling. But if you have any questions, let me know. And like, subscribe, all that stuff. But hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got some value out of it. But the Zve-10, man, it's still a rocking little camera. I got a dummy battery on it, and it is just rocking and rolling. Rocking and rolling. All right. You guys have a nice day. Thanks.